everyone, I am Kinzai Husni, a fourth-year student at University UM6 Polytechnique, and today we are extremely pleased to have within the UM6P campus studio Professor Jean Staune during the third edition of the Science Week. So, Professor, can you please give us a brief presentation about yourself?
I'm a philosopher of science, mainly, and also futurologist, and I have mostly two different hats on one head. One hat is about philosophy of science applied to management, and that's a quite, I will say, original field, and I introduced this in HEC Paris, the big important business school, as a course on philosophy of science applied to management. And the second art is about philosophical and metaphysical implication of sciences, and mostly also link between science and spirituality.
All right, thank you, Professor. So now, can you please tell us how does this work that you have just talked about relate to this year's theme of the Science Week, which is complexity?
The organization of companies was in the past very linear, very in a sort of pyramidal way, okay? Because it was organized on a sort of mechanical structure, like a big clock, okay? Classical Taylorian companies was organized like big clocks, okay? And so now we are in a much more complex world around us, and you have much more interactions between things. And so a new paradigm for companies is needed. And here the complexity theory is very helpful to help managers to change their behavior, and more than the behavior, their worldview, to develop a new way of managing.
All right, so now can you please tell us about your own definition and perception of complexity?
I think that it has many different things about complexity. Me, I'm more a student of you. Here, for example, we have Edgar Morin, who is a great specialist of complexity. I'm mostly a student of Ilya Prigogine, the Nobel laureate for chemistry. So my approach of complexity is based on things like the butterfly effect, for example, on what we call now disruption. It was calling this bifurcation, when you have a complete, like for example, the fall of the Berlin Wall, okay? You have an equilibrium, a stable equilibrium for 45 years, okay, between the East and the West. And you have small destabilization. Gorbachev make perestroika, John Paul II is elected Pope and destabilize Poland, okay? And you have this sort of small weak signals, and you have big disruption or bifurcation with the fall of the Berlin Wall. After, you have for 30 years an equilibrium with one dominant state, the United States, who do everything they want on the planet. And now we are clearly in a pre-bifurcation, not only with the war in Ukraine, but even before the war in Ukraine. We are in a pre-bifurcation era. Okay, because we see that the monopolistic world dominated by United States will no longer be. There will be China, Russia, I hope Europe and United States, you see, perhaps the BRICS countries from the South together. And so the interest of complexity is that it gives you a key to understand this sort of period we are in, okay? You can decipher the situation with this concept I have mentioned.
Okay, so the butterfly effect and the fall of the Berlin Wall are indeed great examples of complexity. So now, can you tell us about and explain about a subject that you think it's complex within your field of expertise?
Yeah, but I will come back on the companies, because that's why I told you one of my main fields. For example, when you look at a company in a classical way, you look at in a static way. You say, okay, there is the marketing department, there is the factory, there is the management, there is the accounting department. Okay, you look at this, and that's a sort of static way, like you cut the body. It's not very nice thing to say, but you cut the body and you see, okay, there is a liver, there is the heart, there is the lungs. Okay, but in the complex, in the vision of complexity theory, you look at the company as a movement, as flux, okay? Flux, money came in, came out, information came in, came out, matter came in, came out, energy came in, came out. And so you look at the company as a sort of moving system, like a living body, okay? And complexity theory helps you to understand, for example, that if the things who go out from a company is not more than the things who go in money, information, matter, and so on, you have a big problem. So it's another way to manage a company, I will say, with a bird view, not like this, but with a bird view, with some altitude. And so I think it's useful to see company like a living system, just as I described, and not like a dead body. So complexity theory applied, for example, to management, it's one of the examples I can give you is this one.
Okay, so thank you, Professor. We're very thankful to have you with us today.
Thank you.